Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Kim and I have a new project that is classic BattleTech. So I hope many of you know this game. It is probably one of the oldest miniature games I can think of that is still widely played. And for this project, it is related to my two brothers once again. So I have not abandoned the Horus Heresy project, as you know, but I am seeing my two brothers before they go off for their next assignment at the end of September. So I decided to paint some classic BattleTech, as that was one of the original games my oldest brother got us into, and I thought to keep it in line with my channel, I would get the original Raul Partha Unseen BattleTech mechs, as they are probably my favorite sculpts ever produced for BattleTech. And there is a limited number of them, so I'm going to try to paint at least 12 to 16 mechs before the end of September and record some games with my two older brothers. And here are the 6 BattleTech Unseen miniatures that I started to work on. I will only paint 4 of them for this video, as I think 4 a week is a good goal. This one is the Griffin. Really love this model. Up next is the Wolverine. I had to do some sculpting as these are from 1986, so they're in a little bit of a rough condition. This is the Stinger, I believe, and what you're seeing on top of the heads are antennas. I had to use a toothbrush. I am going with the original method they used, either using a toothbrush bristle or a paintbrush to achieve the effect. And to start off the painting, I am gonna keep the basing in my Kim's Talisman style, so it may look odd, but I just want everything to match. So to start off, I decided to paint the Griffin, and for all of my mechs, I am gonna paint them in various camo schemes, as I do not want them to be painted in a single house or clan color. This way I can use the mechs for honestly any game and any timeline. So up first is the Griffin, base coating it in Castellan green. I am going to kind of go with the Imperial Guard Corsican armor, as I do like it a lot. So after I put that green on, I move on to the brown for the patterns. So I would say I made them more triangle and jagged shapes. This step is pretty easy, as if you do mess up, you can go back to the original color and redefine and clean up any spillage or anything that looks a bit odd. So this is what the Griffin looks like after a little bit of painting. You can see the patterns are looking really striking, and again, you can always go back with the original color to clean it up. After that, you're going to grab GW Celestial Gray, and you're just going to try to highlight the edges of all the brown patterns. Once again, if you do mess up, do not worry. You can go with either the Mornfang Brown we used or the Castellan Green to clean up any edges that may look off. This is what the Griffin should look like. Honestly, you could stop at this step, but of course I want to put a bit more effort to make these guys tabletop ready. Now that everything is set, we're going to grab Nun Oil and apply a whole wash over the model. This is the new formula, so it should go into the shadows and shades more easily, but again, if you see any big pooling, just grab the brush and whisk it away. Now that the wash is done, we're going to grab our first highlight color. I use Vallejo Heavy Green, and we're simply going to add a pretty thick green highlight to all the edges. It is okay if you go over a little bit of the brown and white, as that would look natural. We will go back and add a little bit more white to fix things up. And for the last highlight, we're going to grab GW Strachan Green. I just focus this on the most prominent edges. If you want, you could highlight every single edge. I just chose the ones that I could honestly reach and what you would see on the tabletop. And this is what the Griffin should look like. He is essentially done. All I have to do is do the iconic BattleTech lens effect and pick out a couple of metallics with my non-metallic recipe. Onto the Commando, I decided to go with a urban camo on this mech, so I base coat the model in GW the Fang, and I do about 2 coats. Once that's done, we can move on to the next step. And here's the Commando with all of the Fang done. I then grab Agrect Earthshade and I do a pin wash. So you could wash the whole model, but then you would have to go back and re-base coat all of the panels with the Fang. By doing this pin wash, I just have to clean up certain areas. And here's the model with the pin wash with Agrex. I will go back with the original color and just clean up any edges. And here's the Commando with the Fang cleaned everything up. So now we move on to the urban camo design. What we're going to do with this is grab Air Color Abaddon Black from GW. I like it because it's a bit watered down and thinned for the airbrush. This will allow me to almost use it like a contrast layer and apply, again, very rigid and sharp shapes on the model. You can put as many as you want. It's just entirely up to you. And again, like I say, have a reference photo so you can see how to do the designs. And here's the Commando with all the black picked out. Again, up to you. You can put a lot more of these designs on. I went for about a 50 mix, so you can see quite a few patterns. Now the next step is to grab GW Palette Witchflesh, and just like the first scheme, we're going to edge all of the shapes with this color. And here's the Commando. All we have to do is add 2 highlights. The first highlight is GW Rust Gray. Apply this over all of the edges like we did with the previous color scheme. And again, if it goes through the black and white, do not worry, it'll help blend the camouflage to the model. And here's the Commando with also the Fenrisian highlight. I forgot to record that step, but you can see how much he pops, and you can see the non-metallic I did to at least the back of the legs and his thrusters. On to the Locust, I am going to go for a desert camo. So apply Xandri Dust over the whole model. This will require most likely 2 coats. After that, I do go with Vallejo Heavy Green and apply these tiger stripes. I forgot to record it, but it's just a bunch of squiggly lines, so it shouldn't take too much time. After we have this set in stone, we're going to grab GW Agrex Earthshade and apply it over the whole model. If you see any pooling, wick it away, but it will add a lot of nice definition and shadows to the armor. Once the shade is dry, we're going to grab our first highlight, GW Morghast Bone. It's a base color, and we're just simply going to edge all the panels like we do for the previous 2 camo schemes. Again, if it goes through the green, that's perfectly fine. It'll make everything blend in and almost look like weathering, and in fact, I think it'll make the camo pop even more. As always, take your time, there's no pressure. And if you do mess up a little bit, it is perfectly fine. It'll honestly look like weathering and some scratches on the armor. So don't be stressed. This should be very therapeutic. And on to the last mech. We're going to base coat him in GW Celestial Gray. This will be again probably 2 coats, get a very nice color. This scheme will be more of a Arctic color scheme. Or a urban one. And here's what the model should look like. He is almost completely in Celestial Gray. That is perfectly fine for this camo scheme. And onto the camo itself, we grab again the Air Color Abaddon Black by GW, and we're going to add again very rigid and blocky black shapes. Find some reference photos. I actually typed in Imperial Guard armor and I saw all of these designs. Again, this is the air color, so it is a little bit thin. Apply it maybe 2 to 3 coats. I just like how thin it is, so if you do mess up, you can go back with the Celestial Gray and fix any mistakes. And once you have that done, this is what the model should look like. Really cool design, maybe not so Arctic, but maybe a different urban design. Now that's done, we're going to grab a watered down rust gray. I use some Lamium medium, maybe a 50-50 mix, and apply it over the whole miniature. This will add a nice blue tint to the celestial gray. It'll help get some shadows in, but at the same time, it will help tone down the black, which is a very cool ghostly look to it. And finally, for the first highlight and only highlight, we're going to grab GW Ulthuan Gray, and like all the other camo steps, just choose all of the edges of the panels. If you go through the black, it is perfectly fine. It'll help make the camo blend to the armor and add a nice highlight to the black. And there you guys have it, a really short and concise guide to some of the camo designs. I still have many more to paint. Sit back and enjoy the model reveals and some more commentary. And guys, here are the 4 mechs I've painted. It is the first quote-unquote lance for BattleTech. Really happy of how everything came out. They do look retro, they do look classic, and it reminds me of my youth when my brother bought this box from Barnes & Nobles and we started playing. And here are some close-ups and some more thoughts on the 4 mechs. I am super happy with how all the camo designs came out. If you guys do like this video, I really don't mind doing more in-depth painting guides from start to finish, as I know I did not cover the lens effect nor some extra details. But overall, super pleased with how all 4 turned out. So let's go on and look at each individual mech now. So to start off, it is the Commando with the urban camouflage. Really happy with how everything came out. I'd say the paint jobs for all 4 mechs only took an hour and a half to 2 hours. So really efficient. A lot of the time is spent actually on the drying and the final highlight, but really pleased with the yellow lenses as well on this mech. Moving on to the Griffin, really love this iconic mech. He looks like a Gundam, and I also love that series. This camo design is based off the Imperial Guards. I think really classic design, and it fits very well. The lenses are a focal point and favorite part of mine. I think the red is very striking, and it helps showcase this amazing sculpt. Onto the Stinger. This is that weird Arctic design. I'd say more so maybe not urban, but regardless, I love how simple it was. Really showcases the sharp edges of the sculpting, and really pleased, efficient, fast, and looks good for tabletop standard. And the last mech is the Locust with the desert camo. This might be my second favorite design. Really happy how everything looks and blends. You can see the non-metallic on the back, very cartoony, but really pleased, and I think the blue lenses complement this mech and this color quite a bit. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to quickly showcase I actually own about 20 of these classic BattleTech paper mats. That's why I really want to play this game with my brothers as a very big thank you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So fun to paint these 4 mechs. See you guys in the next BattleTech video.